What's up, everybody? This is the Steelers Sanctuary Union first ever fantasy football show, and I am David Korb. It's good to have you guys here watching this. For any of my fantasy football guys, wanted to go ahead and have something here for you guys that are signed up for the membership to be union members. Cool little thing we're doing with our app. I just wanted to put something out there exclusively for you guys. So I figured, why not? I'll just knock out a fantasy thing. So this is going to be basically, I'm just going to talk about, post draft, and what these rookies have been drafted and their impact on fantasy football this coming season. So I decided I was going to do QBs and running backs and wide receivers for this one, and then I think like next week I'll probably do, or maybe earlier this week, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I'll do like tight ends. Maybe kickers. I'm definitely going to do individual defensive players, IDPs. And then I'll actually take a look at some defenses to see if, like, because of some of these guys they've added, these defenses actually might be sneaky good to go after in your drafts. But for now, I'm going to do quarterbacks first. So right off the rip, let's go ahead and put this up there on the thing for you guys to see. So here's the 7 I picked that I figured might be something to just seriously talk about. So I'll just get right into it. Fernando Mendoza. Look, if the Raiders don't sign Kirk Cousins, I would have had Mendoza slotted to start right off the rip. So maybe somebody that you could have considered in the late rounds as like the backup QB kind of thing, but not now. So to me, his impact is low. But I'll also say this, like, it's not a desirable pick anyways, for the fact that the Raiders don't got nobody at wide receiver other than like Trey Tucker. Like, that's it. And they got Bowers. But like in general, I just don't think they offer enough for him to be even, don't take this guy for now. Just see how it plays out. But I right now I wouldn't draft him. I think his impact will be low for the season until they're ready to hand the reins over to him. And even if he would beat out Cousins, then he put Cousins in some kind of backup role, even though they're paying him $20 million. Then, it's just still not a desirable pick for me. But we'll see. Ty Simpson, he'll be behind Stafford, so his impact is low as well. Now, Stafford gets hurt, though. That does change some things because of the wide receivers, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. He's going to have Kyron Williams at running back to dump the ball off to as well. So, like, if Stafford gets hurt and Simpson then is the guy, he might be a guy that I'd be interested in picking up off the waiver wire. But, like, nothing where I'm drafting this kid at all in these drafts. Next is going to be Carson Beck. Zero impact here as well. He's going to be second or third string behind Brissett and Minshew. So, like, another one that there's no reason to even think about him. Drew Haller. You're going to see some Steelers. I'm going to bring them up just because this is a Steelers app. So I am going to bring up some of these guys, even though, there's no real reason to be that, to take them seriously in fantasy right now. So Drew Haller, it's zero impact here right now with him too. Rodgers, I think, is going to be back. We'll see. But I will say this: if Rodgers doesn't return, and there is a true 3-way competition between Rudolph, Howard, and Aller, and then if Aller wins, then it's time to take him seriously as a guy you could take in the draft. But I would take him, as your backup. Don't count on him. But I mean, he's going to have Pittman, Metcalf, and Bernard. So to throw to. Plus, I mean, Dowdle and Warren both have proven that they can get the ball dumped off to them, and they can get yards as well for your quarterback. So he's someone that, like I said, I maybe if something crazy would happen where Rodgers doesn't come back and Aller wins a 3-way competition and is the starting quarterback, okay, focus on him towards the end of the draft as a backup quarterback option, maybe. A very low impact for me right now that I would consider serious. K. Klubnik, no real impact here. Geno Smith's the guy. Klubnik right now is projected to be the number 3 QB behind not Geno and Brady Cook. I don't know how long that's going to last with Brady Cook, but nothing serious to be considered there with him with the Jets. Cole Payton, nothing here as well. Jalen Hurts obviously is the quarterback of the Eagles. Now, if he would get hurt, if Hurts gets hurt and then Payton gets somehow plugged into the starting quarterback role, now you're kind of talking. You're talking about him having Devonta Smith, having A.J. Brown if he doesn't get traded, and having Mekhi Lemon now too. So it's a pretty good trio of wide receivers, on paper. I know that, this past season, AJ Brown didn't do as well. So but still on paper, that's a pretty good trio to have a quarterback throwing to. Again, not some guy you're drafting. Again, monitor during the season if something happens to Jalen Hurts, and if he would be the one to get plugged in, then you might want to take a look at him. Maybe if you have an injury on your team that you're desperate, your quarterback's hurt, and you need to get somebody. Last one I have here is Taylor Green. Look, the Browns have already said Watson's projected to be the guy. Green is behind Watson, Sanders, Gabriel. So there's nothing here unless the Browns start browning and everyone starts getting a shot at quarterback. If Green would get a shot, I'd be a little more interested in him if I need a quarterback to just plug and play for a week or something, because of the fact he's going to have, rookies, Concepcion, Denzel Boston, 2 highly regarded rookies, and then he's going to have Judy. So only during the season, guys. Don't draft this guy. If something happens where he gets plugged into it and you're desperate, something like that is the only way I'm even remotely looking at Taylor Green. But right now, he's nothing. He's nothing on my radar whatsoever. So he shouldn't be on yours either, in my opinion. But that's just me. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to running backs. Let me bring it up here for you guys. The list: Jeremiah Love, Darian Price, Kalen Black, Jonah Coleman, Mike Washington Jr., Emmett Johnson, Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen, and Eli Heidenreich are the guys that I think maybe we should talk about here. So right off the rip, we'll go with Jeremiah Love. Obviously, big impact guy here. He's going to be the starter right off the rip. I know that James Conner's there, but he can't stay healthy. I think I saw on a depth chart he's like 3rd in the depth chart right now, and Love's already plugged in number 1. So he's going to be the guy. I think fantasy on Yahoo has already projected him to be the 11th best running back to take in the draft. So this is definitely a guy that, I don't know how your strategies work. Some people go running back in the first 2 rounds. A lot of people have altered that now. A lot take wide receiver, then running back, or they switch them. But I do feel like this is a second running back you're going to want to take early in a draft. If you start your draft off with a running back, and then you go wide receiver, this guy, if he's in the 3rd round, do not pass him up. Automatically take him right now. If you take a wide receiver in the 1st round and running backs get taken big in the 2nd round, then, if you think you need to take him, because he's supposed to be the starting running back. And from what you saw in college, he should do really well. Jadarian Price, he's going to split carries with Zach Charbonnet. So his impact could be pretty substantial. Charbonnet gets hurt a lot. So you can see Price get put into a starter role if Charbonnet goes down. Look what happened when they made Walker the bell cow. They won the Super Bowl. So if they think Jadarian Price can be the guy if Charbonnet gets hurt, then they lean on him as a bell cow. Now you've got a guy that's going to get you fantasy points pretty good. So I would just, as far as drafting him, not early, not yet, until we see for sure to make. But I think that Zach Charbonnet will split with him, but I'd rather take him in the later rounds if I'm going to take him. Kalen Black, he's not a lot of impact here, obviously, with CMC being the starting, running back for the 49ers. So, but CMC does get hurt. So you could see it happen. Maybe, I'm not quite sure on that one, but I wouldn't, low impact for me right now. Jonah Coleman, little to no impact with J.K. Dobbins and Harvey as running backs out there in Denver, barring an injury. But Dobbins does get hurt a lot. So maybe you do see like a running back by committee thing between Coleman and Harvey. But right now, little to no impact to me. He's more of a guy you monitor during the season. Wait for Dobbins to get hurt, which happens almost every year. And then maybe you want to keep an eye and see if they start utilizing him more. Mike Washington Jr., I know the Raiders drafted Genty last year, but Clint Kubiak's the head coach, and he loves running back by committee. I mean, you saw what he did with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker III. They were splitting carries a lot, which really pissed off Kenneth Walker III owners. Like it was killing me that they kept splitting carries so much. But that's what Clint Kubiak likes to do, man. Like he likes to have running back by committee. But I'll say this: Washington ran a 4.340. He's got take it to the house speed. So I could see maybe there being a little bit of him getting some snaps. But for now, not really. I would hold off for a little bit. And another one that I would monitor and wait to see if something happens to Genty. But we'll see what happens. It could be truly a split thing between them. But they drafted Genty pretty high. So I don't know. I'd like to think they lean on him a little more. But we'll see with Clint Kubiak being the head coach there now. Next one's going to be Emmett Johnson. His impact will be very little with Kenneth Walker III now starting. He's now in Kansas City. And I think after what they watched him do, he's going to be a bell cow. So, like, Emmett Johnson to me is nothing to really look at in the draft. Maybe, if Kenneth Walker III does get hurt, then you could go ahead and try to scoop him off waivers. But that's really about it to me for Emmett Johnson. So just monitor the injuries during the season, see if something happens to K9, and then you can swoop in and get Johnson. Nicholas Singleton. So look, to me, his impact, he went to the Titans. To me, his impact is something you gotta watch, because I think he could have some impact here. Pollard, he did okay last season. He got 1,000 yards, but it wasn't great. Tyjae Spears was okay. But let's not forget, Singleton was a 1,000-yard back in 23 and in 24 for Penn State until Katron Allen started cutting into his snaps. This is where we're an injury away from Singleton, maybe even not an injury away. Maybe they do give him a shot, and maybe that's why they took him in the 5th round. Maybe they didn't like what they saw with Tyjae Spears, or they didn't like what they're seeing with Pollard. So, he's just a guy maybe keep an eye on through the season as well. Don't draft him, obviously, but keep an eye on him during the season. Speaking of Katron Allen, zero impact here. As the Commanders, they revamped their running back room behind Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt. They added Rachaad White. They added Jerome Ford. So, like, Katron Allen's going to be really far on the depth chart. So, another guy that, like, just zero impact here. Don't draft him. I wouldn't even worry about him during the season, to be honest with you. There's a lot of guys in front of him. So, Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, he showed a lot of promise last year. So I think he's going to be the guy, and they'll mix in White or Jerome Ford. All right, I went ahead and added Eli Heidenreich to this. Again, I did it because of the fact he's a Steeler, and this is a Steelers podcast. So, I just wanted to talk about him a little bit. So here's the thing. He's got appeal, but not a guy that I'm going to draft. Like, you're going to want to wait, because here's the thing. I am wondering, he's labeled a running back, but this guy's really a receiver. If you look at his stats, he has a shit ton of receiving yards. I don't know why they label more running back, but whatever. But that's where I think this guy can bring value, is the fact that he does get those receiving yards. So again, don't draft him. Monitor to see what you're going to be watching the Steelers anyway, so you're going to see what's going on. If something happens to either Warren or to Dowdle, then that might change the things to where maybe you would be. But here's my thing that gives me some kind of promise for him when it comes to fantasy, is the fact that I wonder if this is going to be the next Gainwell. Like, they're looking for this to be the next Gainwell, the guy that can make all these great passes and is really good with catching the ball and yards after the catch, and he's hard to take down. Like, that's the thing with Heinrich that makes me wonder if, like, man, if you just monitor and snag him off waivers, he could be good down the road. So that's the way I look at it with him. McCarthy even made the comment that they're going to open up the playbook for him. So, yeah, like, that does make me wonder. I don't know if it's just coach talk or what, but definitely monitor it. You're going to be anyways. So, like, he could be a guy. He could be. I don't know. We'll see. 7th round pick. This guy might not even make the roster for all I know. But, we'll see what happens. If you watch some of those games, this kid, I know he went to Navy and did face a lot of big schools, but I remember he faced, I think it was UCF or USF, a 24th ranked school, and, like, he put up 247 yards receiving. That's against a ranked school. So, like, nothing to really sneeze at, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think that it's just something to monitor, and maybe, I hope at the very least he's something great for the Steelers. But for fantasy purposes right now, he's just something to monitor, to take off waiver. All right, that's all of the running backs. Let's go ahead and get into, last but not least, the wide receivers. So, as you can see, these are the wide receivers I picked for fantasy impact: Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Casey Concepcion, Omar Cooper, Dazon Stribling, Denzel Boston, Jeremy Bernard. Let's see, Antonio Williams, Malachi Fields, Caleb Douglas, Zakiah Branch, Caleb Douglas. Did I have him on twice? Oh, I do. Oops. They added Zakiah Branch twice too. Oh, stupid AI. Jacoby Lane, Chris Brazell, Ted Hurst, Davon Thomas, Chris Bell, Brent Thompson, Elijah Surratt, Caden Wetjen, Skylar Bell, and Bryce Lance. Let me get a sip of water here. And then, all right. So let me just go down this list here. So Carnell Tate, big impact guy. He will be the wide receiver 1 with Wan'Dale Robinson, and Ridley is the wide receiver 2 and 3. They drafted him extremely high, so of course he's going to get plug and played. So yeah, he is definitely a wide receiver you're going to want to take in the first 2 rounds probably. Jordan Tyson, another one, big impact. He'll be the wide receiver 2 with Olave and Valet as the main 3 wide receivers. So absolutely, Tyson's another one you're going to take early in the draft. Let's see. Sorry, I got something popping off my computer. Mekhi Lemon, large impact as the slot receiver for Philly with Smith and Brown. Unless Brown is traded, then he becomes the wide receiver too. So yeah, like Mekhi Lemon's another guy that could be a rookie wide receiver that's impactful right off the rip, no matter what. So he's another one that, like, yeah, you might want to snag him in the top part of the draft. Not top, like not the tier top, but like middle rounds maybe. Casey Concepcion, another one, big impact as a wide receiver 2 with Judy and fellow rookie Denzel Boston. So if you look at the depth chart, they've already got him plugged in as, I believe, wide receiver 1, or he's wide receiver 2 behind Judy, if I remember correctly. So yeah, another guy that you could probably snag mid rounds, might be great for you, maybe even bottom rounds, depending on people in your draft are paying attention or not. Omar Cooper Jr. Potential for big impact here in the slot, like he did in college. He was a slot monster, man. If you ever watched the film, holy crap! And I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, with Wilson and Adonai Mitchell lined up outside, they're going to put him in the slot, dude. He's going to eat. He's going to get you. He's going to get you a decent amount of points, I think. Another guy you draft, not top, but he's going to be middle rounds to late rounds, probably too. Zon Stribling, not much impact here with the 49ers. He's going to be behind Evans, Pearsall, and Kirk on the depth chart. So not a guy I'm drafting yet. Monitor injuries, stuff like that. Denzel Boston, as I just mentioned earlier, he'll be impactful because he'll be either lined up on outside, I'm going to guess, and Concepcion will be in the slot. I think either one of these guys is gonna get points eventually, or right off the rip. I'm just curious as to who's going to be the slot guy and who's going to be the outside guy, because I'm telling you now, Concepcion in the slot is really good. He's gonna destroy the slot corners trying to cover him. Jeremy Bernard should be impactful in the slot for the Steelers. Look, the teams are going to be focusing on trying to stop DK Metcalf and Pittman, so they're going to put Bernard in the slot, and I think Bernard's going to do really well. I think he will. So another guy you're going to draft probably later in the rounds. You're trying to look for that probably like 3rd, 4th wide receiver to have on your team. So yeah, I could see that with him. Antonio Williams could have some impact behind McLaurin and Luke McCaffrey with the Commanders as the wide receiver 3. McLaurin's always hurt. That's the thing. McLaurin gets hurt a lot. So he could be your top 2 wide receivers in the blink of an eye here. So there is potential for some impact with this kid. Again, a later rounds kind of guy in the draft. Next one, Malachi Fields. Not a lot of impact here. I wasn't impressed with this kid in the first place after he ran that 4.6 40. And the scouting reports said that, like, when facing tough, top competition covering him, he didn't do as well. But he's going to be behind Neighbors. He's going to be behind Slayton. He's going to be behind just signed Darnell Mooney, and they just signed Calvin Austin III. So, like, I don't see where this guy has any impact fantasy wise right now. So he's nobody to me. Like, don't draft him. Don't even worry about monitoring him during the season right now. So that's the way I look at Malachi Fields. Caleb Douglas. He could have significant impact. The Dolphins no longer have Tyreek Hill or Waddle. They're gone. So they gutted those top wide receiver spots. So yeah, like he could actually get some value out of him here. His competition for playing time is going to be Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, and fellow rookie who was drafted in the 3rd round, Chris Bell. So really, Bell and him could have significant impact here. Again, probably a guy you're going to take. I'd probably take him later rounds too, just for the fact, rookie wide receiver. You don't know what you're going to get. All right. Zachariah Branch, he might not have much impact to start, but besides London, the ones in front of him on the depth chart are Johan Dotson and Alamide Zacchaeus. Like, that's not much of an obstacle to me in front of him. And I like the film on Zachariah Branch. So if I was them, I think I would bump him to wide receiver 2 right now and have zero thoughts about it. But so for fantasy purposes, another guy I would definitely target either mid to late rounds because he is going to end up overtaking Jahan Dotson or Zacchaeus. Jacoby Lane, not much impact right now behind Flowers, Bateman, and Devontae Walker on the depth chart. Plus, he's got to contend with fellow rookie Elijah Surratt, drafted 1 round after him. So, I mean, here's the thing. Like, Jacoby Lane, I like him, but I also like Elijah Surratt too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think that one of them is going to move ahead of Devontae Walker on the depth chart, but you're going to need to monitor this and wait to find out which happens first. It's either going to be Surratt or it's going to be Lane. So I'm not ready to draft him. I wouldn't draft him yet. I would hold off, monitor during the season, grab him on the waiver wire. Chris Brazzell. Big fan of Chris Brazzell. If you guys paid attention to our podcast on YouTube, you know I like Chris Brazzell a lot. But here's the problem. Not a lot of impact here behind McMillan, Coker, and Leggett. But his height and speed combo, man. I could see him leap past Coker or Leggett. I really could as time goes on. Do I think he does it right off the rip, during training camp preseason? Maybe. But as for now, he's not on my radar to draft. Probably wait till the season's about to start and see if he did leap one of them and is going to be the number 2 or number 3. But we'll see. But if he is, yeah, I would snag him off the waiver wire. Ted Hurst, not a lot of impact here behind on paper stacked wide receiver group. Egbuka, Godwin, Jalen McMillan, and the Bucks also have Tez Johnson they'll have to compete with for playing time. So to me, a guy that did really good against small schools. I really wish Steelers would have got him in like the 3rd round, but it is what it is. But they got a really good wide receiver core, and I just don't see him starting over those guys. So he's not on my radar to draft. I'm not even thinking about him on the waiver wire. But I will say this: like if there's some injuries, which can happen, McMillan had a major injury last year. Godwin had a major injury. Tez Johnson is the size of a stick. So yeah, there could be injuries, but so just monitor the injuries, see what happens. If you need a wide receiver during the season, see if he could be like a diamond in the rough kind of thing. Xavier Thomas, not a lot of impact here to start behind Odunze, Burden, and Khalif Raymond, but eventually I could see him supplanting Raymond as the number 3 guy. 4.28 speed is probably going to get a chance. That's the way I look at that. Don't draft him. Watch on the waiver wire, see if there's an injury, or see if he does pass up Khalif Raymond. Chris Bell, just like with Douglas, could have significant impact as the Dolphins no longer have Hill and Waddle. Like I said, competition is not going to be that big with Lake Washington and Tolbert and Douglas. So Chris Bell, don't forget, if not for the knee injury, guys, he probably would have been an end of the 1st round, high 2nd round pick, but the knee injury caused him to fall. So if he's healthy, man, he could be a sneaky good pick in the draft. I think because of not knowing, if your draft's early in the summer, like if you're not sure yet, I would snag him in the late rounds just to be safe. I'd wait to go grab him and have him be like your number 3, number 4 wide receiver in the draft. Don't take him early. Don't take him mid rounds. Take him late and then monitor to see what happens. If you don't take him, if nobody drafts him, definitely keep an eye on the Dolphins to see if he's one of the top 3, because you're going to want him. Kid's going to produce. Brent Thompson, another low impact to start with. McConkey, Johnson, Trey Harris. I mean, these are all top guys for the Chargers. But here's the thing. He's got 4.26 speed. That I think he had the best 40 in the combine. So you're definitely going to want to monitor him during the season to see if there's an injury or if he gets bumped past. I would say maybe Trey Harris he could get bumped ahead of. But I don't know, man. Harris was a rookie last year, if I remember correctly. So, I think they took him in the top 4 rounds last year, if I remember correctly. So I don't know. It's going to be tough, but I mean, with that kind of speed, he's going to get a shot. Look for him on the waiver wire if there's an injury. Elijah Surratt, just like I was talking about with Jacoby Lane, he's going to deal with Flowers, Bateman, and Walker again. He's going to be in competition with Lane to take the 3rd spot. Look, this is a guy that had 15 touchdowns and almost 900 yards receiving last year for Indiana. He's a good wide receiver. He may not be as fast, but he shows up in big moments, in my opinion. And so I think that if he does get top 3 on the depth chart, I think he will produce. Do I think he could be like a big time producer? Maybe not to start, maybe down the road. So he's a guy that monitor training camp, monitor that, see what happens. Don't draft him yet, and see, like, waiver wire, see if there's an injury. Then I'd snag him off the waiver wire. Caden Wedgen, I'm mentioning him because it's a Steeler, again, Steeler podcast, so I'm going to go ahead and mention him. He's not going to have any impact here. We're talking about a depth chart ahead of him of Pittman, Metcalf, Bernard. Roman Wilson's probably going to get more of a chance at wide receiver than he is. Now, on the kick return, punt return side, he's going to have a huge impact, right? I mean, this guy was the number one returner in the country. So great that apparently the Steelers needed to use a 4th-round pick to get him. But whatever. So yeah, he's going to have a big impact there. You got to take the wait and see approach with him, just like you do with Heidenreich. You got to take the wait and see approach with both of them. So this is a guy you're not going to draft. You're not going to pick him up off the waiver wire because nobody drafted him. You're going to want to wait and see if there's injuries, and it's going to take a couple of injuries for me, at least, I think, to see this guy get a shot at wide receiver. I guess I saw something where he was like uncoverable at the Senior Bowl or something like that. But I'm not paying attention to that stuff. I'm paying attention to what he did in college. This guy had 120 yards receiving total in college. I think that was it. I think that's all I saw. 7 total touchdowns, 3 were return, and 4 were regular. So there's just not a lot here to get excited about, especially in fantasy for him at wide receiver. He's just not a guy that I expect to do much fantasy football-wise. Skylar Bell, sooner or later, he's going to have an impact. The Bills really are trying to fix their wide receiver room. They traded for DJ Moore. They signed Joshua Palmer to help Khalil Shakir. But I'm just going to put it this way. Skylar Bell is a talented wide receiver. He is going to get playing time. So if you do draft this kid, it better be late rounds because right now he is 4th on the wide receiver chart, depth chart. So have a late round flyer, maybe, and that's about it. And then definitely monitor what he's doing during the season to snag him off the waiver wire because I could see him passing up like Palmer. I really could. Palmer or Shakir, I could happen. I really do think it could happen because that's how talented Skylar Bell is. Last one I got is Bryce Lance. Look, I love this pick for the Saints in the 4th round. But he won't be impactful to start because he's got Jordan Tyson, Olave, and Villay in front of him on the Saints. But do I think he could threaten Villay for that number 3 spot? Absolutely. I do think that. Very productive wide receiver at a small school in North Dakota State. However, Christian Watson was from North Dakota State. So you got to ask yourself, could this be the next Christian Watson? Maybe. I mean, he was extremely productive, very productive. But can he do it at the NFL level? That's the thing. That's why I love the Saints taking him. I mean, getting him in the 4th round after taking Jordan Tyson early, I thought that was exactly what I was hoping the Steelers might do. I was hoping they would take a wide receiver early, take one around the 3rd, 4th round, and in the middle, go ahead and take care of the offensive line or top defensive player, but it didn't happen. It's whatever. Yeah, I like Bryce Lance, but as of right now, he's a waiver wire guy to monitor during the season if there's an injury, which could happen. Olave gets hurt a lot. Jordan Tyson almost had his draft status threatened because of injuries. So, these are guys that could get hurt, and then Lance gets plugged in as one of the top 3 wide receivers while those guys are hurt and on the injury list. So, yeah, definitely pay attention to the Saints. Pay attention to Bryce Lance. See if there's an injury, and then go get him off the waiver wire. All right, guys, that's all I got. That was really fun. Felt good to talk about fantasy football. I know the drafts are not quite going to start yet. It's a little early, but I did want to put the content out there for you guys to have, just so you got something if you decide to subscribe and become a union member on the Steelers Sanctuary Union. I'm going to be doing more of these. I'm going to try to do another one. Like I said, I want to go ahead and knock out tight end, see if there's any impact for kickers, individual defensive players. I'm definitely going to dive into that, and defenses. I can't wait to get into the defenses because I want to look at these defenses and see which one of these rookies added is going to have the most impact on some of these defenses. Because you might have defenses that were not on your radar or were useless and they rotted on the waiver wire. But this year they added 2-3 guys maybe on defense that's going to really be impactful and make them a lot better defense, get you points. So yeah, I want to dive into that stuff, and I want to talk about you guys. and help you guys out and make sure that when you guys go into your draft, man, you are ready to go. You have a plan. You know your players you want in your certain spots, and then you'll be a monster in your fantasy football league. That's my goal with this. But look, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for becoming a member and doing this stuff for us. We really appreciate it. We're going to work really hard for you guys and give you guys some great content. But until next time, we're out.
Just like that, I left everything. I dropped out of high school. See ya! I said goodbye to my girlfriend. See ya! And I left my family.